The oxygen recycler hissed its final breath at 0347 hours, and Lieutenant Mara Solon knew they had maybe 6 hours before the children started showing symptoms. Maybe 8 if she pushed the backup systems past their safety limits. Maybe 10 if she stopped breathing so damn much herself. "Lieutenant, you need to rest." Kerr's voice was small behind her, his leonine ears flat against his skull. The cub was barely 7 standard years old, his fur still showing the spots of youth. "You've been working for 2 cycles without—" "I'm fine," Mara said, her hands already deep in the recycler's guts, rerouting power conduits that were never meant to carry this much current. Her vision swam and she blinked hard. The crash had been 3 days ago. She'd slept maybe 4 hours total. Go back to the shelter with the others. The transport vessel Meridian's Hope had been carrying 43 Felinar cubs from the war-torn colony of Thresh 9 to the sanctuary world of New Haven when the nav computer suffered a cascade failure. They'd come down hard on this unnamed moon, buried the pilot and the other 2 human crew members in the crystalline sand. And now it was just Mara and 43 alien children who looked at her with 2 large eyes and trusted her to keep them alive. Humans were known throughout the galaxy for many things. Their pack-bonding instincts, their refusal to abandon their own, their absolutely unhinged determination when someone they cared about was threatened. Mara Solon was about to prove why. "The primary coil is burnt out," she muttered, mostly to herself. "But if I can bridge it with the secondary and use the tertiary as a ground—" Her fingers worked on autopilot, muscle memory from 1,000 emergency repairs on 1,000 broken systems. The Felinar had brilliant engineers, but their technology was built for precision and planned maintenance. Human tech was built to be fixed with duct tape and prayers. She'd been using both liberally. "Lieutenant?" Thalen's voice now from somewhere to her left. Another cub, this one with silvery fur and a slight limp from the crash. "The little ones are asking when the rescue ships will come." "Soon," Mara lied. Because the truth, that their distress beacon was damaged and probably broadcasting into empty space, that they'd crashed in an uncharted system, that rescue could be days or weeks or never, wasn't something children needed to hear. "Tell them Lieutenant Solon is fixing everything." Another lie. She couldn't fix everything. She could barely fix anything. But she could buy them time. Her hands were shaking now. When had that started? She'd already pushed herself past the point where stims would help, past the point where sheer willpower was enough. The human body was an incredible machine, capable of enduring far beyond what seemed possible. But it had limits. Mara Solon had found hers 2 hours ago and kept walking anyway. "Thalen, there's nutrient paste in the forward hold. Blue containers. Get the cubs fed. Kara, I need you to—" The deck tilted suddenly, or maybe that was her. She caught herself on the recycler housing, left a smear of blood from knuckles she didn't remember scraping. "I need you to organize water rations. Half portions, but make sure the youngest drink first." "You haven't eaten?" Kerr said quietly. "I'm fine." The words were automatic now, meaningless. She forced her focus back to the wiring. Just needed to complete the circuit. Just needed to get the backup oxygen flowing. Just needed to— The world went sideways. Mara didn't feel herself fall. One moment she was standing, and the next she was staring up at the moon's strange purple sky through the torn hull plating, wondering why the deck was so cold against her back. Wondering why her lungs felt like they were full of sand. "Lieutenant!" Kerr's face appeared above her, eyes wide with panic. Thalen, come quick!" She tried to speak, tried to tell them she just needed a moment, just needed to catch her breath, but her tongue was made of lead and her lips wouldn't cooperate. The world was going fuzzy at the edges, darkness creeping in like a tide. The last thing she saw before unconsciousness took her was small faces gathering around her. Dozens of them. 43 pairs of eyes, all filled with fear. She'd failed them. Mara woke to the sound of growling. For a moment she couldn't remember where she was, couldn't piece together why every muscle in her body was screaming, why her mouth tasted like copper and ash. Then it came back in a rush, the crash, the cubs, the recycler, She sat up too fast and the world spun viciously. Small paws pressed her back down. "Don't move," Kerr said, and his voice had taken on a tone she'd never heard before. Not the frightened cub from before, but something older. Protective. "You fainted. You've been out for 4 hours, 4 hours. The oxygen. The children." Mara tried to get up again, but Thalen was there too, his small frame surprisingly immovable. The oxygen is working, Thalen said. We finished what you started. Kerr remembered how you bridged the coils. You're just cubs, Mara whispered, her voice cracked and raw. You shouldn't have. We're not helpless, Kerr said, and now she could see what she'd missed before. The determined set of his jaw, the way his claws were extended, not in fear but in readiness. And you're not allowed to die for us. That's when she noticed the formation. The cubs weren't scattered or huddled in the shelter. They were arranged in a loose circle around her, facing outward, watching, guarding. The growling she'd heard wasn't aggression. It was warning. Several of the older cubs were stationed at the breach points in the hull, their young bodies rigid with purpose. There are scavengers on this moon, Thalen explained quietly. They came while you were unconscious. Big ones with too many legs. His voice was steady, but she could see the tremor in his pause. We didn't let them near you. Mara's throat tightened. She looked at the cubs, these children she'd been protecting, and saw the scratches, the torn fur, the exhaustion in their eyes that mirrored her own. They'd stood watch. While she'd pushed herself past breaking to save them, they'd formed a guard to save her. The rescue beacon, Kerr said, settling down beside her like a small sentinel. We fixed that too. Signal's broadcasting clear now. Someone will come. His ears swiveled toward the darkness beyond the hull. Until then, we take turns, you rest. We watch. That's not, Mara started. You taught us, Thalen interrupted gently. You taught us that pack doesn't leave pack behind. That's what humans do, right? They don't give up. His large eyes met hers. So we won't give up on you. Mara Solon, lieutenant in the Terran Relief Corps, veteran of 6 evacuation missions, trained to endure anything, felt tears slip down her cheeks. Not from exhaustion, not from pain, from the profound, overwhelming weight of being protected by those she'd sworn to protect. Okay, she whispered finally. Okay, 4 hours. Then I take watch. 6, Kerr countered. 5. Deal. As consciousness pulled at her again, gentler this time, Mara heard them talking. Kerr organizing the watch rotation, Thalen checking the oxygen levels. 43 small voices working together, keeping each other safe, keeping her safe. The rescue ships would come. The beacon was broadcasting. They would survive this, but in that moment, as sleep finally claimed her, Lieutenant Mara Solon understood something profound. Humanity's greatest export wasn't their technology or their determination or their unbreakable will. It was the way they taught others to be strong. The cubs stood guard, and the humans slept, and somewhere in the darkness the scavengers learned to stay away.